This Easter egg is a homage to a game which is a homage to a free game that came out in 2002, titled Sexy Hiking.
You really never know what kind of Easter eggs you're going to come across in a video game, and some of my favourites are the ones which allow you to jump out of one world and enter another. As today, we're going to be taking a look at 7 secret games that you can play in, well, video games, as this is the Easter Egg Hunter. Crysis 2 is an action-packed first-person adventure that was created by the Crytek team and released back in 2011, and is a title that is home to some of the craziest Easter eggs in video games. And even when the action is over, the game has come to an end and the credits start to roll, a point when you might get up and do something else is actually the moment when you should hit either L2, R2, X or A 5 times in a row, where you can now take to this secret minigame that appears to be inspired by Atari's 1979 classic arcade, Asteroids. This next Easter egg came to me from the awesome YouTuber, The Bearded Fool. As it was back on the 10th of January, he messaged me on Twitter and asked, "Out of curiosity, have you ever featured the Easter egg that was in Mr. Mosquito for the PlayStation 2? It was a random 2-player minigame that had you playing as a Japanese man on a bike trying to knock the other player off a tower." And in answer to his question, I'd never even heard of Mr. Mosquito before, let alone this bizarre sounding minigame. And to be honest, I'm not sure which of these 2 games is weirder. So for those of you that don't know what Mr. Mosquito is, well, it's a single player title that has you taking control of a blood-sucking insect on a mission to drain the veins from all the members of the Yamada family while they go about their everyday lives. Yeah, this is quite possibly one of the strangest things I have ever played. But if that's not quite doing it for you, then why not head back to the main menu and spin the right analog stick 30 times in a row, where you'll be greeted with this secret minigame known as Reckless Cyclist, which was perfectly described by the Bearded Fool, with 2 men perched on bikes who can ram at each other, send one another hurtling out of the ring and hurtling off a giant tower. This is CSR Racing 2 and Natural Motion Games' popular 2016 iOS and Android drag racing title. A title that allows you to compete in multiple events, configure, race and upgrade all the world's greatest supercars, and build up a collection and store and display them in multiple garages for you to admire. And speaking of the garages, have you ever noticed the arcade machine standing over in the corner? Well, it is just after you defeat the tier 3 boss known as Kurtz that you should revisit the garages, where you may notice that the arcade machine is now turned on. And if you happen to tap upon it, then you'll now be able to play this secret game of Turbo Super Drift, which is similar in style to Sega's awesome arcade Outrun. In Midway's 1993 2-on-2 arcade game NBA Jam, if you were to add enough credits for 2 players and went to the tonight's matchup screen, it is here where both players must quickly hold down and press all 3 major buttons together, where instead of heading to the court, and as long as you have done this correctly, you'll be whisked off to this secret and surprising 3D tank game, which if completed after playing for about a minute, you will activate a variety of cheats to utilise when you head back to the main game. After Midway had created the first 2 NBA Jam games, it was Acclaim Entertainment and publishers of the home console versions who then won the rights to the Jam name, and their first title was NBA Jam Extreme, which much like the original also contained numerous Easter eggs including another secret minigame, though this wasn't only confined to the arcade version as it could also be achieved on the PS1 and Sega Saturn ports. As by opting for 4 players, it is when you reach the tonight's matchup screen again that all 4 players must hit up and press the extreme button at the same time, where everyone can now battle it out in this crazy game of Head-roids. Before Coffee Stain Studios brought us the crazy world of Goat Simulator, they gave us the Sanctum series, a first-person shooter and awesome strategic tower defense title. We must strategically lay out defenses before an onslaught of enemies attack you and try to take down the precious oxygen-producing cores. And throughout Sanctum 2 there are many Easter eggs to uncover, including a bunch of secret arcade machines to find. And my favourites include the one found at the train station in World 3, as if you immediately turn around and hop down this track and follow it all the way to the end, you'll end up in this large room where 4 arcades are tucked away in the corner. And if you stand near this one, then you can now play a game of Takeout, which is of course a play on Atari's Breakout. Furthermore, on the map of Roadworks, it is here where you can find a secret jump that will transport you to a hidden area where another arcade is tucked away in the corner, and this time allowing you to play a game known as Pong.
Yeah, I've heard the story.
No, it's true. It was a long time ago. The house burned down. The parents died, but their kids' bodies were never found.
Dun dun dun.
Guys, stop. You're creeping me out.
Wick is an action horror adventure which was created by the Canadian video game developers Hellbent Games in 2015 and follows the story of a group of teenagers who leave a friend blindfolded in a dark forest that is said to be haunted by the ghosts of missing children. And throughout the forest there are actually 9 secret buttons dotted about that if pressed in any given hour, you will unlock the achievement hidden in the darkness and reveal a crazy secret minigame known as Wickbutt. Which is a parody of the Dick Butt character and a game that plays exactly like Slender the 8 Pages, except of course you're now being chased by the amusing character Wickbutt instead.
I'm gonna get you. We're gonna die. It's me, Wickbutt. Oh no! Da-da-da-da-da.